Hi. So I just want to briefly talk about something that's been bothering me for a while. When I watch YouTube videos about natural hair, because I really am passionate about natural hair. Oh, I didn't tell you my name. So my name is, well, I go by Fo. Yeah, I go by Fo. So yeah, that's my name. But that's something that's I've been really passionate about, and that's the fact that people are getting on YouTube talking about moisturized natural hair in a very accusatory way. They're talking to people like, the reason why your hair is dry is because you don't moisturize. The reason why your hair is short is because you don't moisturize. You don't moisturize. You don't moisturize. But I think something that people are missing is that moisturized natural hair and being able to grow out natural hair is a privilege. It's not a given. You know, you can't just go in the store for some people and pick up a product and be able to put it on and moisturize your hair. For a lot of Black people, that is extremely difficult. And I want to break down some reasons why moisturized natural hair and growing out natural hair is oftentimes a privilege when it comes to Black people. So I have my notes here. From the first thing I noticed, there are environmental factors. So there are environmental factors that prevent a lot of Black people from being able to have moisturized hair. And those environmental factors include the water quality sucks. So if there's hard water, then that can make your hair hard and dry. Because of the mineral deposits, it's like just build up on the hair and it's not letting water through. So there's the environmental factor of the water. There's the environmental factor of the air. So the air could be extremely dry, which could just be not benefiting the hair, causing the hair to feel extremely crispy. So the next factor, it could be extremely cold. It could be extremely cold, which we know that a lot of Black people, not all Black people, a lot of Black people, originally, we aren't physically made up for the cold, right? Our hair is not made for the cold. So that can cause hair to be brittle, crispy, dry. So those are some environmental factors to consider. I think I got everything. And I think the air quality, I don't have any substantial research about that, but I feel like the air quality could also impact hair. I mean, like if the hair is full of yucky stuff and debris, I would like to think that it has some sort of impact on hair, you know? So there are also physical factors. So a lot of Black people are unable, and this is globally, are unable to pursue a healthy diet or are not sure of how to pursue a healthy diet. A lot of Black people are unable to pursue exercise, unable or unaware of how to create a good exercise regimen. And both of these things can help with hair being moisturized as well as hair growing long. And the reason why these things could impact that, because we know that diet, what you eat internally could come out through your hair. So if you're eating things that are bad for your body, then that can come out through how your hair responds. Your hair can come out brittle, dry, crispy. Your scalp can be extremely dry. And also not working out or not having a good physical regimen could add to you not getting good blood circulation on your scalp to help your hair grow, right? So those are some things to consider. Some people, they have a lot of jobs, or they have a job that doesn't allow for them to work out at a certain time, or they can only afford certain foods. Some Black people live in food deserts where fresh food is miles and miles away. I think another physical factor that is really big that people get on my nerves when they don't acknowledge this. Another physical factor is genetics. Genetics. There's a lot of information now where people are trying to preach that genetics don't matter. And I really do believe that's because a lot of us Black people are trying to keep up with a standard that doesn't fit us, a standard that fits white people, Asian people, Native American people, a standard that does not fit a lot of Black people of West African descent, which is having long flowing hair all the way down our back. Long, loose flowing hair all the way down our back. And so we preach that genetics don't matter. I've heard a lot of people say genetics don't matter, or genetics only affect the growth rate, blah, blah, blah. But genetics really can't impact somebody not being able to grow their hair long, or having issues with moisture. So it might be in somebody's family that they have eczema. So eczema can create an extremely dry scalp, which can cause difficulty keeping your hair moisturized. Something I don't get to about genetics. So if we see that everybody in the family is short, we say, okay, their height is attributed to genetics. But then we won't say the same thing about hair. We could be very accusatory and say that it's something that they're doing wrong. And I don't like that. Like when I look at myself, for example, I'm not genetically predisposed to having extremely long hair, right? Like I have a average to sometimes below average growth rate, which the average growth rate is, and I have a measuring tape here. The average growth rate is a half an inch. So this is a half an inch. But sometimes I think I grow less than that a month, right? And there's some people that grow an inch of hair a month. You see how much that is? Some people grow an inch of hair a month or more than an inch. And that is above average. And I've seen many YouTubers say that genetics has nothing to do or doesn't play a large part in the success that they've had in their natural hair journey, but they grow, and they say they grow up to an inch a month. That is quite a bit of hair. And that's not me. And then on top of that, genetically speaking, I think that I have a very short growth cycle. So a growth cycle is the amount of time that the hair grows before it decides to shed. I think my growth cycle is only about 2 years. So on top of having a below average to average amount of hair that grows in at a time, I think my hair sheds after 2 years. Whatever strand of hair after it's 2 years old is going bye-bye. So I don't really have that long of a growth cycle. And so there are a lot of people that may have a growth cycle that's shorter, or amount of time before their hair sheds that's shorter, or their hair might grow less than half an inch a month. It's possible. And it may not be because they're doing anything wrong, or it could be because of some sort of medicines and things like that. But it could be just because of genetics, right? So, and I heard a YouTuber saying that she doesn't believe in, like, there's a plateau in the length that somebody's hair can get. She's like, your hair can grow as long as you want it to. I disagree with that. I disagree. While the terminology terminal length, I don't know if you all have ever heard of that, might be flawed, I highly disagree with you can grow your hair as long as you want to, because there are some people who, such as myself, I believe have a growth cycle that is about 2 years long. There are things I could do to try to make that longer, like get pregnant, because your hair, for some women, while you're pregnant, it doesn't shed. Yeah, I don't like when people say genetics has nothing to do with it, but then we say that genetics has something to do with everything else. I think that's delusional of the natural hair community and many Black people, and it's very irritating to me. So there are also mechanical factors. So in order to start a healthy natural hair journey, it's a really great idea to go to a stylist so they can assess the hair. They can wash the hair with a really good shampoo, maybe a shampoo that removes mineral buildup and things that can happen with hard water. And they can also give a trim, because oftentimes if the hair isn't trimmed, if there are ends that are like crispy and really frayed and damaged, the hair is not going to be able to hold moisture. So there are a lot of people that can't afford to do that for themselves and then for their children. They can't afford to go to a stylist, have the stylist assess their hair, wash it really good, blow dry it, and trim it, right? A lot of people can't afford that. And so that's a privilege. That's a privilege, and a reason why some Black people, they don't have moisturized hair, or they're unable to achieve a longer length of hair. A solution I would say to that is, and I need to go back through the other ones and give some solutions as well. But a solution to that may be to go to like a Walmart, if there's or Supercuts, if there's an African-American person working there and you've kind of like, maybe they were referred or you've seen them work and they do a good job. You got to be very careful, because I had a bad haircut like just a few months back. Even with somebody that had really high reviews, you got to be really careful. But try to find a trusted hairstylist at like a Walmart, Supercut, somebody that's not going to charge a whole lot for a trim. I prefer a blow dry trim because it's much more even. Yeah, so you can get off to the right start, but I also understand that that is a privilege. That's a privilege to be getting trims throughout the year to keep your hair healthy. There are also videos here as a solution on YouTube where you can trim your hair yourself, but I suggest starting off with a professional. Starting off with a professional so they can get everything even and where it needs to be. And then maybe if you would like to, trimming your hair, dusting your hair in twists and doing that sort of thing that a lot of people do here on YouTube. Yeah, dusting. That's what I was saying. Dusting your hair. A lot of people can't afford to try different products to see what works for them. So I do not like this whole accusatory thing about, I keep saying that word, but it's people just really get on my nerves. It's like they're finger pointing through the screen like, your hair is dry. You need to buy this. You need to use this. You need to slap this product on your hair. And I'm thinking about all these different Black people who really has the time and who really can afford oftentimes to try 5 million different products. I've tried in this past year, so like I'm telling you, dang near hundreds of products to figure out what would actually moisturize my hair after the things I used to